Welcome to the Agents of the Unexplained podcast. From a haunted abandoned asylum to Sasquatch lurking in the dark woods and watching you, and all things unexplained, here are the stories from outside our realm. With your host, Bill Rigby.
Hey everybody, I got some bad news. My guest is actually here. There he is. Everyone, Justin England, Cryptid of the Corn.
How we doing, everybody?
Oh, I'm telling you, brother, that I couldn't resist that one.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh. I wasn't expecting. I was playing with my keys. Oh, God.
But Justin, I didn't really get to meet you in person yet, but Mike Hartman spoke so highly of you. And he says, Bill, you need him on your podcast. You need him. So right away, I asked you when you were at Hocking Hills that we're going to talk afterwards because I want you on my podcast. And when we talked that following week, and you said yes right away, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate the ask.
I was going to be a smart ass, but I won't. But with all honesty, let the people know who you are.
All right. Hey, guys. I am Justin with Cryptids Podcast, also known as the Great and Powerful Mystery. We've been doing this. This is almost our 2-year anniversary for the podcast is coming up in like 15-ish days. Actually, it's exactly 15 days. I did that math fast.
Wow.
But I have a little bit of a background in biology. I was a fisheries biologist. Technically, I was a fisheries field technician. Simplified, it's a fisheries field biologist. Just a field biologist. I was one out collecting samples and doing that kind of stuff. So I did that. What I did in that job, I worked for a company out of Ohio, but we got contracted out with Federal Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Wildlife, all kinds of big companies and corporations and entities from around the country. And we travel and do their fisheries work for them. I specialized in eDNA surveys. So that's a kind of a big hot button thing with Bigfoot right now. eDNA. I was one of the actual guys that collected eDNA. And I'll tell you, it's stupid hard.
Stupid hard.
Yeah. We talked about it on our Nessie episode with the Nessie eDNA survey was kind of a joke. The way they did it was wrong. But I also specialized in endangered species surveys, habitat assessments. What's the third one or the fourth one I'm forgetting? It's been a long day, everybody, just so everybody knows. I had my baby all day. It's my turn today. Habitat, eDNA, endangered species, and ecological surveys. So basically what I did was most of my job was giving a collective, comprehensive picture of the environment or the habitat we were in and giving it a score so politicians and stuff could understand what that meant. Because if I
Whoa.
Yes, sir.
There ain't no way in hell a politician understood it.
So I 100% agree with you. I've been in the courts, had to argue stuff. It's like, I don't know if anybody on here has ever seen like Congress asking about the internet.
Yeah.
And it just is, it's might as well be talking about quantum physics. But no, so kind of all that stuff I just said would go into a big mathematical formula and kind of pop out with one number. And that would be something they could understand. So it's out of 100. So for river health or stream health or watershed health, it was out of 100 points. But you had to understand kind of where the bar was. So let's say we're in Columbus. You know, me and you are both Ohio people. So Columbus is actually probably the best watershed for a big major city in the country. They score pretty good. I mean, you're not so in a big city. You're praying for 70 is kind of your score out of 100.
Right.
Would be the best you were going to find because you're not gonna. There's no way humans aren't going to affect the watershed, especially humans. So if, Columbus normally does, like, some of their sites do like 71, some of them, a couple of the really nice ones do like 81, 82. So
Wow.
Columbus actually scores above the bar. So when we would go to these politicians or these people that are legislating for or against environmental protections, that would be a good indicator. So like the wastewater treatment plant in Columbus gets rewarded every year because their outfall doesn't affect the watershed super negatively. Like I said, there's no such thing as a no effect system. That's kind of something that some of these environmental groups don't understand.
Yeah, right.
Humans are going to affect the environment. There's no way for us to not affect the environment. Oh yeah, Michigan. I love Michigan. So, and every area of the country has a different scoring system. But basically, I don't know. We do all this work to give these politicians and these wildlife right activists and stuff like that. We'd give them the data that they could use to go back and forth with. So I can't fully talk about a lot of this stuff because I'm still on with NDAs. Everybody knows what that is at home. It's a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
So, I mean, some of my stuff I did is still being used in court cases to this day.
Oh, that's cool.
The big one we did was a $10 million fine. We didn't make the $10 million fine, but a company got fined like $10 million over our survey.
Well, you bad boy, you. Costing money.
They deserved it. The fish had tumors the size of softballs.
Oh, God.
People are eating fish out of that river.
Have you gone to Sharon, PA and did water quality there?
Sharon, what's the river?
Shenango.
I don't think so. I've done.
Good.
I've done like 12. Sorry, my internet's bad. I've done like 25 or 26 states. Ohio, I can say I've been in pretty much every creek and stream and river, and all these little tiny headwaters have at least been in the watershed. Michigan, I've done a lot in Michigan. Illinois, I've done a lot. Indiana, I've done a lot. A little tiny bit in Kentucky. A little bit in Pennsylvania. The most of the PA stuff I did was right around the Beaver Falls area. We had a big survey in there.
Around the Beaver River, yes.
Yep.
The Shenango runs into that.
Okay, so I've been there. I've been close.
Well, actually, Shenango and the Mahoning River both forms south of Newcastle, right near Beaver Falls.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you guys ever hear me pause tonight, it's because I'm trying to remember what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say if we're talking about that stuff. I got to remember.
So you don't get your ass in trouble.
Exactly. I don't think anybody would really come down at me, but I'd probably get a finger wagging at least. One of the really cool things. Hey, Bob's here. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Jamie
King's watching too. Awesome.
Hey, Jeremy. And then one of the cool things we did, I can kind of talk about, because I know we're going to probably talk about all kinds of fun, cool stuff tonight. But for kind of stuff we did, we were in a state in the Midwest. I can't say what state it is, but we were looking for what's called an extirpated species. So that means locally extinct. That they're not wholly extinct through their whole range, but in this certain area, they're not found anymore. So we're looking for a thing called an Iowa darter. Or for all of our fish nerds, you know what they are.
All right. Now, wait a minute. That was part of my notes. You're jumping on my notes.
I'm sorry. You have to hold it off?
No, go with it, brother.
I'm glad you had that written down because that's one of my favorites.
Because Mike told me, ask him about the darters.
Yeah. So darters are tiny, little, colorful. They're perchids, so they're actually in the perch walleye family, but they don't have a swim bladder. So they actually sit on the bottom of streams. Some of them will be in super horrible waters. Some of them will be super nice waters. So we use the species. I can kind of talk about how we number the species here in a minute. But anyway, so I was doing this survey in the Midwest looking for Iowa darters, and this certain government branch was like, no, there's no Iowa darters in this area. The reason they were saying there's no Iowa darters in this area was because they were about to put a gigantic industrial complex in.
Whoa.
So finding endangered species when they're about to put a gigantic industrial complex in is not a good thing for the gigantic industrial complex.
Exactly.
They still had to pay us to go look for them. We're doing this whole survey, this whole big, long, stupid survey, because we haven't found one. The habitat's not there. The water's hot from all the industry. It's just gross. You know, what we're finding a lot of green sunfish and bullhead catfish. Those are kind of fish you start seeing when the water quality is not the best. We're doing the second to last site. And right at the end, because we did electroshocking, you see this little tiny fish turn because they don't have a swim bladder, so they don't float. So they kind of do a little backflip. And I'm like, oh, I net it. And we're all looking at it. We're like, we got one. We're so excited. So we have to preserve it to prove that it was there and all this stuff. And we take all these pictures and we're like, the problem with one is the other side, like the industrial complex, can hire biologists and say that they didn't find anything in their survey and we lied.
Right.
So finding one is still just almost as bad as just finding none. The next site, we found hundreds of them. It was just this tiny little oasis.
Oh, cool.
And it was just perfect. And now the industrial complex never got built. And they're still trying to sue that state to get them to allow them to build there. And they'll probably never win because it's one of the last habitats in this certain state for these certain fish.
I can guess what state.
I won't tell you if you're right or you're wrong.
Just nod. No. But no, seriously. Now that we understand you're a brainiac, what got you into the cryptid world?
So it's kind of weird. I had my Bigfoot encounter when I was 16.
Did not know that. So tell us about that.
So I had one. I'll give you the short because it's, it was a lot. But after my Bigfoot encounter, I still didn't believe in Bigfoot probably 3 or 4 more years at least, because I was going to be a biologist. I was gearing up. I was 16, but I already had schools picked out. It's always how I've been minded. And biologists don't believe in Bigfoot, and that's just wrong. Now I actually have a lot of biology friends. We have a lot of listeners that are extremely high up in their fields of biology that find a lot of comfort in our show because we still talk about the paranormal and the cryptozoological, but we bring a lot of that side of the science as well. They don't have to be split up. In science,
they don't.
And then a lot of our friends that are paranormal research don't like to mix it, but you don't have to split it. The science is there. So the short of my Bigfoot encounter, real quick, is over 2 years, we had a bunch of small experiences that led up to an apex experience to where when I seen it, it was late at night. We had a giant farm here in Hardin County, Ohio. My dad had these big stadium lights because me and my mom had horses and we work with the horses at night. So for everybody that's never had horses, never worked with horses, they can overheat very easily. So when me and my mom would work these horses, we'd work them at night so they wouldn't overheat. So we also had 4-wheeler trails and stuff like that in the woods. We had a big chunk of woods, a big farm. We had a dog named Lucy, and she was extremely aggressive because we started having chickens and stuff go missing. So we went and bought this dog that was a monster from the Amish, and she did her job very well. One night, so we got accustomed to, she would bark and bark and bark if an animal, like if she was running a possum or a raccoon off. If they ran into the forest, she wouldn't mess with them. The problem was they run up the first tree. So
right.
That first tree, to her mind, they never left. So she'd stay down there and bark and bark and bark. So we'd have to go down there with like a baseball bat, golf club, and just knock the thing out of the tree for her. And once it ran away into the woods, she would go back to being normal. So this one night, she's barking, right? Or she's barking. So me and Luke go and get the baseball bat and the golf club out of the garage. And it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, so pretty dark. And as we're going down, she's standing right in front of one of these 4-wheeler trails. And that's kind of weird for us because they're like, well, there's no trees there. So what's she doing? And we get about 30 feet away, and we just see this giant hulking shadow looking down at Lucy. And she sees giant chartreuse eyes. And you see him blink once, twice. Third blink, they're staring right at me and Luke. And I'm shaking. I'm like, don't run. That lasted for like 10 feet. So we get up to the house. We're both bawling. We're teenagers. We're both teenagers, but we're coming, we're inside crying. This whole time, this thing had been messing with our farm, moving stuff, destroying stuff, stealing stuff. We thought it was a guy. So my dad's done. My dad's fed up and he's done. He gets a shotgun and Lucy's still standing in the same spot barking. Dad walks right up to the 4-wheeler trail. He doesn't see nothing. And he's like, okay, you MFer, you've scared my kids. You've messed with us. We're done with this tonight. We're done. I'm going to give you the count of 3 to come out, or I'm going to shoot. I'm just going to shoot in the woods. He counts to 3, and obviously nobody steps out. He aims into the top of the trees, into the canopy, and just shoots once. About 10 feet away from him in the dark, it just sounds like a buffalo is ripping through the woods.
Oh,
Dad
wow.
kind of falls back, runs up to the house. All he would say is, it's not a guy, it's not a guy, it's not a guy. And that's that. The only reason me and Luke knew it is we came out in the patio and stood. We were probably 100 feet from him when this happened. It sounded like a buffalo. And we weren't into the Bigfoot or nothing like that. And so we didn't go. Everybody always asked me, did you go look for footprints? Did you go? No, we didn't. We were done. And later that month, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And we actually had to leave the farm and everything. So it was just kind of a lot of stuff got stacked up really fast. That the Bigfoot thing kind of
went to the wayside.
Yeah. And then later on, watching shows like Finding Bigfoot and Mountain Monsters, you can say they're goofy, you can say whatever you want about those shows, but for me, those were the shows that I even realized somebody was even thinking to take this seriously.
Well, Mountain Monsters, no.
I love them, but I know.
I love them, and they say it's just for
they'll tell you
the show.
It's for fun.
It's for fun. That's it. But I love them too. They're great. Finding Bigfoot. I say not Finding Bigfoot. My reasons behind that is too much money's being made for the producers to find anything. Okay.
Mhm.
If they find something, that ends the show, ends the rating, ends the cash flow. So
Yeah. Well, with Finding,
and that's why I rather go with podcasts.
Yes. Now don't get me wrong, obviously I love podcasts. Wink.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
But as far as Finding Bigfoot, so here's my thing with we know Renee pretty good.
Yes.
And we know Cliff pretty good.
Yeah.
Cliff takes pictures of Jay whenever Jay's really drunk. There's everybody on Instagram. You've seen the pictures. But here's the thing with Renee. Renee was a fishery biologist before,
Right.
And I was a fishery biologist. Renee specialized in salamanders, and I specialized in salamanders. We almost did a lot of the same stuff. So once I got into this kind of field of it and realizing somebody like that is even going out and doing this stuff, to me, that was a big spark.
Yes.
And I get, and everybody's, it's whatever to me. It doesn't really matter, but it's just, we didn't know forever. And we started doing the show, and people I've known my whole life started coming up, and they'd kind of do that thing where you believe in that Bigfoot crap, and you'd be like, yeah, and then they tell you their story. And these are people I've known my whole life. It never once shared anything like this.
It's surprising, ain't it? I lost 2 friends over this. And I looked them dead in the eyes, says, have I ever lied to you before? No. So why would I lie about my sighting?
It's a hard thing for people.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I got a Renee story for you.
Oh, yeah?
I finally got to meet her this year at the High Bigfoot Conference. We're waiting to get where our table's going to be. We're just waiting to find out. And here comes Renee. She starts talking to a group of us. And she started telling her story. That went off to this side, then went over here, then went over here, then went over here, then went over here to get back to the story. And it's like, oh my God, Renee, what does that got to do with it? By the time she got back to the story, I had to leave. I never got the end of the story. But she is comical.
Oh, she's fun.
She is.
I
love it.
She's one of those people that'll stop for every kid to get every picture to sign whatever.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
And
she's all about the kids.
that's because that's a lot. It means a lot for these kids and everything like that. It means a lot to ourselves
Yes.
too, but especially for a young mind.
Yes.
That's probably been the weirdest thing is having adults come up and we do these conferences and our kids just love you. Would you take a picture with them or whatever? It's like, yeah, that's weird. That it's a whole nother level, but we enjoy it.
I got this one parent. They says they asked for my picture, and it's like, really, I'm a nobody. But they says, yeah, my kids love you because you're so funny. You and Mike. And I'm like, oh my God. I says, you let them watch us? I'm thinking, I says, yeah, you can take a picture of me. I don't like kids anyhow. And she went, what? And I started laughing.
You and Mike the other day, it was probably a couple weeks ago now. Time flies. When you guys were both getting on live back to back, trying to tell,
Yes.
laughing like a hyena. It made me laugh. Oh, Mike's in the chat. Hi, Mike. It made me laugh so hard.
Oh God, he is too. Oh. Hey, Mike, you missed the darter story.
Oh yeah, I'll share more.
And I didn't have to ask, so stick it, buddy.
Didn't have to. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you a funny Mike story.
Okay.
So it was at Ohio or B's Bigfoot conference.
Hocking Hills, yes.
Like two or 3 years ago now. And the first time I met Mike, it was great. It was so much fun. First time I'd really met B, personally. We talked and had our show and stuff like that, but got to sit and hang out with her. So B's like, nobody's there Friday night. It was that week. It was this whatever week it was where it was all rainy, and it kind of
a couple years ago, yeah.
So it was just a small group. It was us and Mike and B and a couple others. Les was there, and B's like, well, you guys want to do the Bigfoot hike? And I'm like, yeah, but I got a bad knee. You sure I can do it? Like, I'm pretty limited on what I can do now with these hikes. And she's like, oh yeah, it's not bad. I'm like, I don't know B really good at this point. Now I know her really well to know that she was dragging me down on the side of a friggin' mountain. So we get down, we do the first drop and we do this next drop. And I'm like, B, this is probably as much as I can do. She's like, oh, it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. And Mike's just trotting right along, right ahead of all of us, just smiling. So finally we get down at the bottom of this cave and I can't remember if it was Les or Mike. So Mike, you'll have to help me. If I can't remember, it was Les or Mike that brought the ghost grid square. You know what I'm talking about?
That might have been him.
So one of them brought the ghost grid square. It was really cool to see in the cave.
I bet it was.
And it was B. Thank you.
Oh, it was B. Oh, okay.
So we're all sitting here and we're like, we're doing Bigfoot calls. And we're just kind of hanging out. All of a sudden, everybody's hearts just drop and everybody gets dead quiet because there's a ghost going through. There's an actual ghost. Like it looks like a guy going through the grid square.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't feel out of the paranormal and I'm getting ready to crawl out of this cave and take off. And then after about 2 seconds, another one comes by. And I'm getting freaked out. And we looked over and it was Mike's cigarette smoke. And we all got the biggest laugh out of it. Like, I'm getting ready to crawl out of this cave and Jay's getting ready to tackle this ghost. And it was Mike. Mike didn't even, Mike was just sitting there and we all seen it. Everybody kind of stopped and looked at it. This kind of thing going by.
Yeah, that's all he does. Cigarette after cigarette after cigarette.
Oh, believe me, I was using my vice as well. I'm a drinker.
He got those new chompers in. Mm-hmm. So now we call him glow stick. He used an ultraviolet light and those teeth just shine so bright. Right, Dick?
I tell that story all the time because it's fun because I think people, and it's nothing against anybody, I think some people take all this stuff too seriously. But that's life. Everybody takes everything too seriously.
They do. And that's the thing. Me and Mike have so much fun dogging on each other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We really do. And some people get upset thinking we're being mean with one another. But you know what? He's my brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's my brother. And we are tight. But it's all fun and games.
Yeah.
But when we come down to researching, we're researching.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, people do. They take everything too damn serious. And I can't put up with that bull. You know, we got to have fun.
Comedy
It is his release. I can tell when he's having a super bad day by the way he's talking crap on people.
Mm.
And especially me. But yeah, with all honesty, but when you get down to it, he's one knowledgeable man there.
Oh, we love Mike.
Wildlife, what's going on in the woods, Bigfooting. The man is very intelligent, even though he's a pain in my ass, but he's very intelligent. You know, like you said, everyone takes stuff too serious. They don't know how to have fun with this. And I try to have fun with it. And when it becomes that it's not, I'm out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not letting other people bring me down. I got a small knit circle of people that I really count on, that I can go to. I got a lot more on the outer circle, but a close knit group. And Mike's one of them. And he knows it. Angel's another one. That Angel Durham that's been making comments in there.
Oh, so for me, they show up just Facebook user.
Yeah. Okay. Angel is Ghost Chick.
Okay.
She is a ghost chick. Let me tell you, me and her did a research at the old Butler VA hospital. I'm walking in, I'm feeling something's going on. As soon as we walk into they brought us in through the auditorium instead of the main doors. And I look back at Angel, she goes, "There's one here." I said, "I can feel it." She said, "No, it's right there up on the stage." We had shit happening all night long, Justin. All night long.
I don't do that. I believe it all. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want nothing coming home with me. I don't. Yeah.
Angel, you talking about me? Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Her ears were burning. Her nose was twitching.
Her nose better not twitch like Samantha from Bewitched. But, you know, the thing is that there was 5 floors, a basement and a sub-basement. There was 288,000 square feet in the old hospital. Every floor had something going on.
Mm-hmm.
In several different places on most of it. It burns when she pees. Angel, shut up. I
read it.
Thanks, Tim. No, that small group of people is you. Yeah, she did find everyone. And I got a buddy from Vietnam War in that hospital.
Oh, wow.
He admits he's crazy and he don't want to leave there.
When did that hospital go out of service? I'm just curious.
They built a smaller one next there. They might be tearing that down, and it's a shame. It's a shame. A lot of things going on there. It's 7:30. I just see Vance Nesbitt jumped in here watching, so we better do something right now and get it over with.
Okay.
Yes, you're late, but You're just in time, Vance. Vance is my newsman.
Okay.
We're going to go to the news segment.
Oh, gosh. I have anything.
Huh?
Do I?
It's hard to say with Vance. I didn't even get to listen to it this time. But we're going to go to it and see what happens here, because I think we're all going to be in trouble because Vance is up to no good. But we love you too, brother.
Yes, kicking off the midweek here. Break that week in half and spend some time with the Agent Insider News exclusively on the Agents of the Unexplained. You know, we've had these conversations about Bigfoot. No, they're not real. Yeah, they are. No, they're not. Yeah, they are. No, they're not. Yeah, they are. No, they're not. Okay, so none of us that we know of have a Bigfoot captured and living in our lawnmower shed or in our garage, but that does not mean that cryptic animals just don't exist. For example, a pregnant dwarf-like creature was found on a tree in Uganda, and it is a cryptic new species. The article goes on to say, nestled into the woodlands of the Uganda sat a dwarf-like creature. The pregnant animal waited out the night on the tree trunk, or at least it tried to. Passing scientists spotted the pregnant animal and discovered a cryptic new species. During their field work, researchers found 7 lizards perched on a tree trunk, the study said. Intrigued, they took a closer look at the lizards and discovered a new species. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Latin kind of scrambled letters in the name, but it's also known as the Karamoja dwarf gecko. The Karamoja dwarf gecko is considered large, reaching about, get this, 3 inches in size. The study says it has a slender body, rounded snout, and several chevrons on its throat. Probably that's its military ranking, I would guess. Photos show the Karamoja dwarf gecko, and it has a brown body, white spots down its back. A lighter colored gecko appears to have almost a marble pattern to its scales, and the animal's eyes are brown with black circular pupil. See, we're always discovering new types of weird cryptid things, but there you go. And speaking of Bigfoot, did Everhart Park in Pennsylvania have the state post a Bigfoot warning? Well, let's go to our Agent Insider News field reporter, Miss Artie Fischel, for an update.
Did the state warn visitors to Everhart Park that a Bigfoot-like creature might be there? Westchester has Bigfoot, that shy and very elusive creature with extra-large sneakers, been spotted in Everhart Park? A note written on Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources letterhead was recently posted on a tree near the park on West Minor Street and at other county parks. Due to encounters in the area of a creature resembling Bigfoot, we are instructing all park visitors to observe elevated park etiquette, be cautious of your surroundings, and to keep the location of any small children/pets within a tighter scope of awareness, reads the posted release. Following an April Fool's posting of a video starring Bigfoot by Chester County staffers, which showed Bigfoot frolicking around Hibernia Park, County Commissioner Josh Maxwell said that Bigfoot is now hungry. I heard he was heading toward Mabel's for barbecue, Maxwell said. Motorists were urged to use extreme caution since the Southern-style restaurant and Everhart Park are on opposite ends of the borough. Westchester Fire and Police spokesperson Dave March said that there have been no confirmed Bigfoot sightings in the borough and the missive did not come from DCNR. If you see anything that resembles Bigfoot, please contact local police immediately, March said. DCNR did not immediately comment to a phone request. A group known as the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization documents purported sightings of the Big Galoot, and there has been one in Chester County. It was on September 1, 2011, for possible whoops and knocks heard from a home near Nottingham. Whoever reported that incident off Glenroy Road was very concerned about what was going on.
Thank you, Miss Fischel, for that update. And when we come back, well, we'll remember normal. You remember normal? Because we're in a wacky world right now. But when we come back, I don't know, Mussolini and Hitler, they got a headline. And now with some wackadoodle news. Can you say wackadoodle? I don't know. Is doodle offensive to anybody? I'm not sure. But there are scientists that are calling for animals with offensive names, such as those named after fascist dictators like Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, to be renamed as soon as possible. The demands come after the organization in charge of naming these species ruled out scrapping the controversial names earlier this year to prevent confusion among researchers. Now, these scientists brought it up, they must be renamed. How many times in your life have you complained about a Hitler beetle in your house or a Mussolini butterfly annoying you? Again, if people just shut up, nobody would know about it. That's it for this edition of Agent Insider News, exclusively on the Agents of the Unexplained. And remember, you know more now than you did 10 minutes ago.
Wow. Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola.
Did he say Coca-Cola?
So
What the hell? We
I
drink
know.
Dr. Pepper on this show.
I got it. So animals with bad scientific names is really fun. He made me laugh really good.
Yes, me too.
You don't understand how many bad scientific names I've had to write. I won't say some of them on the show, but I can't remember if it's the red squirrel or the gray squirrel. Everybody at home, just look it up.
Oh, no. Here we
Really,
go.
really offensive terms.
I bet. Vance, brother, you know we love you, but we don't do Coke. I'm not a druggie.
I think my heart would give out if I did.
Damn, that's why I listen to the doctor.
I tell my wife all the time I'm going to get a doctor or going to the doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
Going to the fridge.
Yep. But geez, he totally blew me out of the water with the Coca-Cola commercial.
It made me laugh.
It's like Coca-Cola? What the?
So to his point though about new species being Wi-Fi bad. New species being found all the time. We do about 1,400 species in the world every year get discovered. Keep in mind, most of those are invertebrates. So, whether it's in the ocean or whatever, but some of them are large mammals. What was the one we just did? I can't remember. A type of gazelle just got discovered. But 2019, a new species of rice whale was discovered.
Yes.
A whale.
Yeah.
In the Gulf of Mexico. There is also about 4 or 5 species of beaked whale which have never been seen alive. They are only known from one example that was a dead animal. Each
Right.
and everybody at home has not seen a beaked whale. Look up a beaked whale. They are insane. They're whales with tusk, and you'll be like, I've never heard of this in my life. I've never seen that. No, it's there. But I just thought that was a good point he made. That cryptids is just undiscovered animals by science
Yeah.
are still being found constantly.
Well, the primates they found down in South America not that long ago. Now, you had your sighting.
Mhm.
I've had mine. Mine was a little closer than yours, but it still scared the living doggy doo-doo out of me. 2 years ago is when I finally saw one. You said you guys went home crying.
Yeah, we ran. It was.
But believe me, I understand that. Here's this guy, 5'10", superhuman, ain't afraid of nothing. Just had the shit scared out of him. And it was only 15 feet from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I can understand as a young teenager running home, that scared you start crying.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me. People, and that was part of my talk down there in West Virginia this past weekend when I did my presentation, is the PTSD effect of it. Now, it hit me kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because first time in my life I ever got scared like that. I've gotten startled. I got a little scared at some stuff, but it didn't stop me from doing anything. I couldn't go forward. I had to run backwards to get the hell out of there. Now, like with you, does it still affect you at times?
It did for years. I mean, we wouldn't go in the woods at night. Years later, all this stuff. I just looking back now with all the research we've done, all the people we've talked to, we've had probably at this point 50 Bigfoot encounters on the show and stuff like that. And just, do I think that thing was ever going to hurt me? No, I don't.
Right.
But that's now, it's after, it's almost 16 years later itself. So it's crazy. It did affect me for years and years and years. We didn't talk about it. We didn't want to bring up. We didn't want to be around anybody talking about Bigfoot. So it did. Yeah.
Yeah. It still bothers me a little bit now and then. It brings tears to my eyes once in a while. But the thing is, I was told to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that helped. And that helped a hell of a lot. I ain't going to deny that. But the thing is, too, I'm not the only one that got affected like that. You got affected like that. Mine was, 15 feet away from me. If it wanted to get me, it would have got me. There ain't a doubt in my mind. Yeah, that's right, Vance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, and I can understand that part too. I was so used to running straight forward into things. Now it got me realizing you don't do that too much, especially when you're out in the woods and you don't know what you're coming into.
Mm-hmm.
And so but like you said, you realize finally that it wasn't going to attack you.
If it would have wanted me, it would have got me.
Same here. And the thing is that people think, oh, wow, they see this. Oh, that's a big gentle thing. You don't know. You just don't know. And
No,
I warn people, you watch your back with that.
I mean, there's people. I personally think they're smarter than chimps and stuff like that. But there's people that have had chimps their whole lives and been completely fine, and then one day they rip off their face and bite off their fingers.
Yeah. They're still a wild animal.
Yeah, I mean, a feral human, which is a real thing,
Yes, it is.
turn on you fast. I mean, they'll kill you.
Yep. Do you think Bigfoot can be extraterrestrial?
Oh, fun question. So Bigfoot. I actually know what Bigfoot is. Bigfoot's a manatee.
A manatee.
Yep. I won't take any questions on that. That's just what we're gonna. No, I'm just playing. No,
I was going to say you're getting a question, because I know what a manatee is.
No, extraterrestrial first. First off, I don't believe in the true sense of extraterrestrials visiting Earth. Do I think there's life out there in the universe? Sure. Do I think it's visiting here? No. Do I think people are being abducted and seeing stuff? Yes. I'm more of an interdimensional guy personally, and all that stuff. I think that the UFOs you're seeing are real. The abduction stories you hear, some of them are real. I've talked to abduction experiencers, and I believe every word they told me. Do I believe they came from Alpha Centauri? I do not. I think that's a lie they kind of put out there for us.
Right.
To me, this is my big struggle when we start doing this and people start bringing their Bigfoot encounters to us and asking us questions. Mine was a fully physical Bigfoot as far as I could tell. It was scared of the gun. It ate horse grain and it ate our chickens. So it had physical needs of hunger and physical fears of the gun. But we've had people on the show that have had, shot at Bigfoot, nothing happened. Not only do they not react, the paranormal Bigfoot is real also. These people that have the glowing red eyes and these Bigfoot that walk off cliffs. I think there's kind of at least two things that are being kind of lumped in as the Bigfoot that we're all experiencing. I think it's kind of two different phenomena. That's this big hairy thing that we're experiencing. Like there's a lot of flesh and blood researchers and a lot of paranormal researchers that don't talk about, to each other about this stuff. Do you believe in the woo? Do you not believe in the woo? To me, it doesn't matter. If people are experiencing this stuff, they're experiencing this stuff.
Right.
So do I think there could be an interdimensional aspect or definitely a more heavily paranormal aspect of Bigfoot? Yes. That's not what I experienced. I can't speak to eyewitness stuff, but we've had people on the show, I fully believe, that have said they've witnessed the paranormal side of Sasquatch. And I believe them.
And that's what I say too to people. My sighting was flesh and blood. Okay. Did it jump through a portal? Not that I seen.
Right.
Because I was knelt down looking down the trail. It was off to the right side of me. I just caught a little movement out of my peripheral vision, and I turned and looked. There it is, 15 feet. And it was knelt down. When I stood up, it stood up. And that's when I really got scared. I'm still on the border. Could it jump through portals? I don't know, because I didn't see it happen. I had a Agents of the Unexplained meeting in West Middlesex, PA, here this past month. And it was really weird because this couple from Connecticut, I think it is, was there, and they just stopped to eat, and they came to the back room where we're going to we're eating first and then have the meeting. And they found out that we're doing a cryptid paranormal meeting. And so I started talking to the gentleman and the lady, and the lady started bringing out these pictures of their cabin at a lake up there. See a portal in that picture. You can actually see a portal in it. And that tripped me out. Now they're traveling from Connecticut to Chicago. They stopped there to get something to eat before they traveled on. So that was meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in coincidence. That was meant to happen. And, you know, I'm hoping she send me pictures again so I can post them.
Yeah.
And, but she got my business card and that. So I'm hoping. So, and like I tell everyone, I don't know if they jump through portals. I didn't ever seen it, so I can't say yes or no. Are they paranormal? I can't say that because what I saw was flesh and blood.
Exactly.
Now, so I cannot say one way or the other. And if someone tries to tell me they're interdimensional, they jump through portals, and that's how it is, do you have the proof? Did you see it? Whatever. And they don't, then I just blow those people off. Well, the one guy told off, but I found out he was a county commissioner after the fact. But anyhow, that's beside the point. Yeah.
So,
oh, now, Cindy, that might be true. Cindy Mitch says that could be.
maybe the ones that are disappearing are the skinwalker type creatures pretending to be Bigfoot. So we've covered something very similar to that, Cindy, on our show about the Fae pretending to be Bigfoot, and that may be responsible for the paranormal side of Sasquatch. The Fae or forest spirits or whatever, if you were wanting to see a Bigfoot, they kind of put on this Bigfoot face, and that's why they're weird. You know, they have glowing red eyes. They don't really match. They seem like they're floating when they're walking. How many times have you heard that with Bigfoot? When they go running through the forest, they almost seem like they're floating. They're not running. Now, do you want me to connect manatees to portals for you?
Go for it.
So a long time ago, it was weird because everybody knows Tony's show, The Confessionals. You know, he's been around forever doing this. We're good friends with Tony, but way before we knew Tony, right when I didn't have a podcast, didn't have anything, we ran a tiny little club called the Hardin County Bigfoot Society. It was me and Jay were like the only real members. So I was looking into stuff, and on Tony's show, a guy came forward and he talked about a dead Bigfoot. You know, that their family had ended up killing one, and he said it either had 4 lungs or its lungs were actually extended. Now that's a weird thing, right? So it either had 4 lungs or its lungs are actually extended, and its molars and its teeth would slide on a track and lock into place.
Okay.
So I hear this and I'm like, that's weird, right? But there's an animal that does that, and I can't think of it. A month later, an old guy's telling me a story in Michigan about one of his buddy had seen a dead Bigfoot when they were kids. And he tells me when they cut it open and they buried it and hid it and all this stuff. And the 2 big things he remembered was the extended lungs and these teeth that were on tracks, and they would slide and lock into place. So it's hard to kind of understand for everybody listen. They would literally like slide down a conveyor belt almost in their jaw and then lock where they are supposed to be. But you could push them back down and they'd slide back.
Huh.
Now, I heard this a second time. I'm like, no, I know there's an animal that does that. There's an animal that does that. And then I finally remembered. Manatees. Manatees' teeth are actually in a track system to slide and replace, and they actually lock into place. If you have a manatee jawbone, they'll actually slide around like they're on a metal track inside. It's the weirdest thing, right?
See, I didn't know that about manatees.
They also have extended lungs because they're marine.
Right. I knew they had that.
So Serenians, the family of manatees, is an ancient group of mammals. They actually became tons and tons of other mammals. Most of them, the most notable ones we talk about is manatees, but they were, close related to hippos and whales and even some deer and rodent-like animals. They even became some carnivores on land that went extinct. So these guys are ancient. So let's talk about Bigfoot, some of the stuff we're talking. So my Bigfoot had eye shine, not eye glow, eye shine. It was being reflected off the light. That's called the lucipercidum. Most researchers are kind of in the thought that Bigfoot is some kind of primate. Let's talk about primates for a second. Primates don't have lucipercidum. The only ones that really do are the ancient primates like lemurs. So
right.
Way, way, way back primates. As far as we know, no humans, and there's tons of species of humans that went extinct, but no humans had it. No great apes had it. No, lesser apes had it. So where did this Lucas percotum come from for Sasquatch? Did they re-evolve it? Or my thought is, I don't even think Bigfoot's a primate anymore, the flesh and blood one. I think Bigfoot is a much older group of mammals that evolved with what you used convergent evolution. So for anybody non-familiar with this phrase, it means that animals often will develop the same body plans to do the same jobs. The big, easy example is sharks and dolphins. They look very similar. They have a very similar fin. The only real difference is the way they swim. It's because the way their spines are aligned. But physically, sharks and dolphins are very similar. So what I think is Bigfoot is actually an ancient order of mammal. And then he just happened to look like us. He happens to have the flat face and the fingers and everything like that. Most all mammals have 5 fingers. Even our ungulates, hoofed mammals, have them. They're just inside, the hoofs. Now, I promise you I'd connect it back to portals. So these ancient orders of animals, there's really rare cases of what's called hyperevolution. So that means they've been around for so long, they develop characteristics that don't make sense to science. Some of my favorite ones, the pistol shrimp. Have you ever heard of this little guy?
Yes.
So for everybody at home, the pistol shrimp has a giant claw, and he actually clicks it, and it gets about 700 or 800 degrees Fahrenheit jet of water, and it cooks his prey alive. So this little tiny shrimp can make something that would melt aluminum, essentially, just with one click of his hand. Mantis shrimp are even more amazing. They punch so hard, they create an implosion underwater. Physically, it's not possible. But it's one of these weird things in physics where it does not make sense for them to do this, but we can watch them do it. And there's these little shrimp that can punch so hard that they break the laws of physics. Now, that's crazy in itself right there. Bees is kind of the famous one. For a long time, there's a large group of scientists working on bees saying that they actually had started to use anti-gravity technology, especially bumblebees. And they have this weird group of organs and chambers inside of them that we still don't understand. I have an entomologist lives next door to me. I was talking to him about it. It's still one of the biggest mysteries of entomology today is these weird chamber systems inside of honey or bumblebees.
Right.
A lot of biologists think they're creating anti-gravity, a technology that we don't even have. So this hyperevolution is these animals that live for a very long time. They survive several mass extinctions. They start getting really weird with what they can do biologically. So if Bigfoot is not a primate, a much older group of mammals, I'm even talking about something maybe from the Jurassic, if a much older group of mammals, they could be experiencing hyperevolution to where, you've heard about Bigfoot cloaking, I'm sure. Everybody here.
Oh, yeah.
What if they're actually doing it? But biologically, they're not technology doing it. They're biologically doing it. We talk about cuttlefish and some cephalopods. They can go in.
Well, going with that cloaking, the hollow hair theory.
Yes.
Is what I'm going with on that cloaking.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But that's a biological trait. So
yes,
the government actually has a skin suit right now that'll actually hyper focus all of your light refraction to a point above you. And it almost looks like you have a headlamp. So to a guy, you're invisible, you're hard to see, but you have a headlamp, a light sitting above your head. When we talk about Bigfoot, what's Bigfoot often seen with? Orbs. And then you see these orbs bouncing through the woods, and it could be because there's a Bigfoot underneath them using this biological cloaking. Now, the portal thing. Let's say...
Wait a minute. Jay Pouch, are you still out there with this orb thing? Because me and him seen 3 orbs at Salt Fork State Park the one night, right after we heard some whoops.
You may have seen Bigfoot. You just didn't know it.
See, that kind of makes some sense.
So this light refraction...
But this is the middle of the night, though.
But it doesn't matter. There's always light. Unless you're in the cave or something, deep in it. We don't pick up a lot of light, but there's always a lot of light available. So with this hair refraction theory, their hairs are on muscles, and they can actually move and change the reflection points. And we actually have government technology that does this. There's a government suit that does this. So you heard about all these glimmer men and stuff like that. That are going to people's houses and stuff. It's probably a guy from the government stalking you or just being a goof, being weird. So that's the Bigfoot and the orbs thing. Now to portals. Almost every physicist right now believes there are extra dimensions and there's leaks or pinpoints.
Right.
They're just kind of opening and closing or whatever. We don't know. Like that's where they believe wormholes and black holes come from. Let's say on a much smaller scale, we have several here on Earth. And I think we have tons. And what's happening is a species has evolved to use this. And it may be Sasquatch, to where they could have biologically evolved to use a natural occurring phenomena to open and close, go in and out of portals, whether it's nice over there to hide or they can skip long distances or, it's just a safe spot for a second.
Right.
So Bigfoot are megafauna, no matter what you cut, how you cut it. If we exponential, if a Bigfoot's roughly 7-8 foot tall, he's probably going to be 800, 900 pounds. If a 10-foot tall Bigfoot's probably going to be 1,200 or 1,200, 1,500 pounds. 11-foot tall Bigfoot's probably going to be 2,000 pounds. So there's just this thing with alligators is what we use for our podcast, is that not every inch is 100 pounds. Every inch they get 100 pounds bigger. It's actually they proportionally get heavier the longer they get. It's an upside down pyramid because you get wider, you get stockier.
Right.
So you don't have to, I guess my big long-winded point was you don't have to exclude the science from the paranormal on Sasquatch. They can go hand in hand. They can explain all this weird stuff with Bigfoot with this. So, well, thank you, Gary. The red eyes. You want me to tackle that for you?
Do it.
So here's a really crazy thing about the red eyes. I fully believe Bigfoot can see in infrared.
So do I.
And we can talk about trail cameras and that stuff here in a minute because I think that's a big proponent. Deep sea hatchet fish. They look like they put them in aquariums, stuff like that. There's a species that's blue, there's a species that have white, and there's a species that has red glowing eyes. Except it's not their eyes that glow. They have bioluminescent sacs around their eyes, and they're using it like headlights. So this species has red because they see an infrared. So they're making their own light, pushing it forward around their eyes like headlights. So what if Sasquatch is using something similar? They actually have some kind of bioluminescent thing that can create a little bit of their own light in low light situations. Also,
repeat this.
Which
about the sacks and
so,
how they rotate them.
They don't, so they can turn them on and off. So
basically,
these deep sea hatchet fish have these bioluminescent sacs around their eyes. Okay.
Oh, so they just close this.
They use them like headlights. They can leave them on all the time if they want.
Oh, okay.
But they use them for the low light conditions. So what if Sasquatch is using the same thing? And then when we see them using it, it's a threat display. It's wanting you to back off. And guess what? When you see a 9-foot tall creature with glowing red eyes, you're going to back off. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, true. This superhuman would back off at that one that didn't have glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what I'm getting at is all these things happen in other places in nature. The portals is about the only one we don't have. But as far as we know, but biology, life applauds a vacuum. Life will find a way to fill any niche available. Now, the trail camera thing, why we don't have any good pictures of Bigfoot. I have a friend that's a big cat researcher, and she doesn't have any good pictures of her mountain lions in her range. So for mountain lion biologists, the 3 big things why trail cameras don't work, and you'll get a picture of a mountain lion on trail camera. I'm not saying that. 99% of them won't step in front of one, though. And if you look at those trail camera pictures of mountain lions, for example, if you look at them, they're almost always juveniles, cubs that just left their mothers. They don't know no better. So the 3 big problems with trail cameras. The first one we're going to talk about is the battery whine. All trail cameras, whether it's solar panel or not, have a storage battery, and it actually creates a subsonic whine. Yes, so if your hearing's a lot better than ours, it's sitting there going. So let's say your animal didn't want to be found like a mountain lion, and this thing's sitting over here going. Guess what? You're gonna take a big old circle around it. You're not gonna mess with it. The second thing is they stink. I don't care how much spray
petroleum base.
They're petroleum based. They're plastic. They're fabrics. They're electronics. There's glues. They stink to an animal. And I see these deer hunters. Deer are stupid. Deer are herbivores. Turkeys, stupid. So they spray on them, and we're talking about predators. We're talking about animals that are more intelligent that don't want to be found.
Exactly.
So the stink, whether you hide it in a log or whatever, I've seen some of these Bigfoot researchers shove these things in a log. It still's making a loud noise, and it still stinks. The third one, and the biggest one to me, is, I know you know, but for all your listeners, how does a trail camera take a picture? Do you guys know what triggers it? It's an infrared laser that has to be tripped for it to take a picture. So if you can see an infrared, these trail cameras have a giant flashlight facing off the front of them in infrared light that's on 24/7, every day.
Yep.
So when it takes a picture is when that line is broken. So if you can see infrared, or you can smell really good, or you can hear that whine and you don't want to be found, you're going to avoid it. I think Bigfoot's probably experiencing all three. So you can walk right through a minefield of trail cameras and never get a picture taken.
Dude, when you said about the smell and everything, I started chuckling because I've been saying that shit for a year now.
So keep in mind, nothing I just said is about Bigfoot. It's about big cats.
Yeah.
It's real big cat biologists doing research with big cats have these problems with big cats. So let's say Bigfoot's just a little smarter than a mountain lion. Me and you probably would agree that they're a lot smarter than a mountain lion. But let's just say a little bit, just for our hypothetical talk. If a mountain lion can avoid all these trail cameras and can avoid all this stuff, why can't a Bigfoot? You know, we don't avoid these trail cameras. How many idiots do you see stealing stuff on these trail camera pictures? Because we can't smell them, we can't hear them, we don't see them for red.
Man, I got caught on so many trail cams, and I wish I could have smelled them. Oops, I wasn't supposed to be here. But no, seriously, I've been saying that for over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in their living room, and so they know what's going on around their living room. They notice anything different. And I've been telling people now, if you're going to do a trail cam, put it 20 feet in the air and put it in an angle. I said, you still probably won't catch nothing, but you might catch something just by chance.
So here's something a tiger biologist had to do in Asia. She has an old-timey, all-metal and chemical, like basically a Polaroid camera.
Right.
And it gets fired off a pressure plate. So, and she's gotten good pictures of tigers off these things. Tigers are notorious. You do not get them on trail camera pictures. You will not get a tiger on a trail camera picture. You think a mountain lion's hard? Tigers know people are bad. Tigers are smart enough to know that they should not get found by a person because it's going to be bad for them. So
people got guns. People are bad.
Yeah. So these the only way she's ever got pictures of tigers is doing this. It's all metal. Metal can corrode and oxidize, so it covers up the smell and becomes a little more natural. And then the pressure plate buried is underneath the ground. So this tiger just steps on it, and it takes a picture. And then she'd never get another picture off that picture because it'd make a sound, obviously. So that tiger would never step back in that spot again. So she'd have to dig it. And when she got one picture, she'd have to dig it all up and move it somewhere else. That's something to be interesting to do with Bigfoot here. If you got a spot that's, got a lot of activity, that'd be something interesting. I would think it's dogs, Bigfoot smell site hearing 10 to 20 times better than humans. At least. Here's my big thing, like you just said earlier, that we're going into their living rooms. Humans are smelly, loud animals.
Even if you use that earthen scent that you use for hunting, they're going to smell your ass.
Doesn't matter. That's for deer. We're talking deer are herd herbivores. They have collective intelligence. They don't have individualized intelligence. So with these individualized intelligent animals, it's a whole different thing. So we're going into their home. We're making we're stepping on. I don't care how silent you are. They're going to hear you coming.
Yep.
They hear you coming. You smell, you make a noise. So all of these stories, and I've had a lot of talks with people on the show and stuff like that, where they say they snuck up on a Bigfoot or they surprised a Bigfoot. I don't think you did. I think he let you or she let you see them. And I do think they do that. I think every once in a while they're bored. That's why they watch kids. I don't think they're grabbing kids, at least 99% of them. I'm sure there's a bad one out there for just like people, you know.
Yes.
But I think they just get bored, and we're funny to watch, and we're funny to play a prank on. So with like the rock throwing and the stick throwing and stuff like that, what I tell everybody, because you know you go to Hawking a lot. You know Hawking's famous for very scary encounters.
Yep.
Hawking's had some very scary encounters coming out of that woods. What I tell everybody is if he's throwing pebbles at you, he just wants your attention. He's just playing with you. If he's swinging rocks at you, he wants you to take him a little more seriously.
And get the hell out of there.
If he doesn't like you, he'll just hit you and you won't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Because they're accurate.
Friends of mine were out, I believe it was Hawkins, where that tree got thrown at them.
Mm-hmm.
Needless to say, they left. They got out of there. But, you know, yeah, just common sense. You know, it just comes down.
So we had a guy on the show. He had a Bigfoot encounter with the Bigfoot throwing rocks at him when he'd park. And he was in South Carolina, I believe. Andrew, I don't know if you're in here right now, but you can correct me. So he was either in South or North Carolina. Now I say it, I think it was North. Fishing, and he was fishing off top of a mussel bed. Sorry, he's catfishing off this mussel bed. And he'd get stuff thrown at him constantly until he'd move around to the next side of the bend. And he'd hear something, get out there and swim and make all this splash and drag all this water and come back around. He'd never seen it. But as long as he didn't park around top of that mussel bed, he never got stuff thrown at him. And me and him talked, and it was most likely a Bigfoot. He found a track one time because it wanted the mussels. You were parked on top of where he's going down to eat.
You're at his dinner table. Get the hell off of it.
I'll tell you another really cool story we got turned into the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if have you been much to Michigan?
Years ago.
So do you know where Manistee is? Manistee National Forest?
Yes.
Okay, so Manistee River, Manistee National Forest. Everybody in the chat and everybody at home listening, go to Manistee National Forest. It is one of the last, on this side of the country at least, one of the last truly accessible wildernesses. It's a beautiful, but when you go out there at night, you start believing in Bigfoot, whether you hear them or not. Because you don't see stuff 10 feet in front of you. So there's three generations, a grandpa, a dad, and a son are going to the Manistee River for king salmon season. So they'd park these boats. Oh, thank you. Gary's so kind.
Gary is. Gary's a good guy.
Gary, you can come over to our chat whatever you want. You're so nice. So it's three, two dads and a son, basically.
Right.
They're going king salmon fishing. They've never camped in king salmon fish, so this is their first time. So anybody that's been to the Manistee knows this. There's big salmon fishing camps, and you rent these little huts or a tent space and whatever. And you all camp together. They have these certain type of boats for fishing the river and stuff like that. So during the day, the salmon are out spawning and whatever. During the night, they really slow down on spawning. And they kind of go to these cutbacks and try to rest for the night. You can still catch. They're still going to eat or whatever, but it's only like 3 or 4 feet deep. So the river's packed. I mean, if anybody's been to the Manistee during king salmon season, thousands of people. So these guys get there the first night. They set up tent, and they just like, well, we just drove 10 hours. We're going fishing. We're going fishing. So we're late though. So they get the boat in, and they see all these cutbacks are just absolutely full of people, just full of people. So they finally find one that has nobody in it. And like, oh, this is so weird. So they get pulled in it, and they turn off all the lights and everything like that because it'll spook the salmon. Keep in mind, they're only like 3 or 4 foot of water, and they're kind of just fishing right off the side of the boat. Their salmons are all around them. They know that. Every once in a while, they just hear this big splash. And they're, man, like, is that a salmon? Or it doesn't. It sounds way too big to be a salmon. And it finally, after 4 or 5 of them, whatever this thing is, just slams right beside the boat. Almost smacks the boat dead center. And the dad freaks out, and they flip on all the lights, and they're looking. They don't see nothing. Then all of a sudden, this giant chunk of asphalt lands about 2 feet from the side of the boat again. So off this cliff face way up there is being thrown these giant, and I mean giant chunks of asphalt from the road project.
Oh, wow.
Whatever's up there is flinging these 50, 60-pound chunks of asphalt at these guys. And these guys freak out, and they go, and they're kind of sitting. So when you go to these fish camps, everybody's sitting around one big fire. You know, there's a whole bunch of people telling fish story stuff. These guys are all shook up, and they're like, you know, the other guys can kind of tell that there's something wrong. So finally, this old man's asking the group, you know, what's wrong, guys? What's wrong? You know, are you guys okay? You know, finally they told him what happened. He's like, did you ever stop and think why you were the only one in that cutback when there's 1,000 people fishing that river last night? Did you ever stop to think how that was weird? And they're like, no, we didn't. He's like, yeah, everybody kind of knows. Every year there's a couple of these cutbacks nobody fishes. Nobody really talks about it, but you can watch it. There'll be 1 or 2 of them left empty because somebody or something don't like them fishing in those cutbacks. So he never got, obviously he never told him it was Bigfoot, but it was assumed.
Yes.
Bigfoot.
Well, you can't say it was unless you saw it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I had some experience with stuff getting thrown at me down in West Winfield, PA. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I went up this trail, sat down, took my backpack off. I'm opening it up to get my night vision out and my recorder. Some little stones come over my shoulder, landing in front of me. I couldn't see them because it was pitch black, but boom, I hear it hitting. And then another one. And a couple minutes go by now because I'm just sitting there waiting to hear. I'm saying a couple minutes, probably was not even a minute. Another one hit. I said, well, okay, that's it. I'm out. It don't want me here. It's coming right over my shoulders. And I'm not thinking anything of it. There's a high wall to my left side. The trail on my right side, then straight bank down to the Buffalo Creek. So I get out and go back down the trail, jump in my van, say, the hell with it, I'm going home. That sucker don't want me in there. A couple weeks later, we went back there, and my friend Debbie was there. We took a walk up the trail. I said, I sat down right there, and I'm looking around. I'm like, wait a minute, high wall's here, bank's there. Look up the tree canopies, full bloom. Now, this middle of summer, I didn't hear these pebbles coming down through the trees. They came over my shoulders, and I'm looking back over this way. That sucker was right behind me, and I never saw him. I don't think it was a possum throwing them over my shoulder.
Oh, no. Possibly baseball.
Yeah. But, so I suspect the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I suspect the Bigfoot. And like you said, little stones, they're messing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't taking the damn chance. So, I'm there by myself. I'm going to be on 411 if I stick around. I ain't taking a chance. I'm crazy. I'm crazy
with this pile of small rocks.
Yeah.
That'd be your episode.
Yeah.
One boot.
But it makes you wonder. Especially when you go back and you look around and you look at that and went, whoa, wait a minute. What's wrong with this damn picture?
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, tell the people how they can get to your podcast.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So our podcast is available on all major podcast platforms. Spotify, Apple. We also have it's available on our website, cryptidsofcorn.com. We have the Facebook, we do our Cryptids and Coffee show every Tuesday at 9 a.m. It's a lot of fun. We drink coffee right before we record for the day, and everybody goofs off, and it's a lot of fun. Instagram is another way. If you want to get a hold of us or whatever, best way is email currently, and that's cryptidsthecornpodcast@gmail.com. I think that's all of the stuff. Our next conference, I just always give these shout outs, is Crypticon is our last one for this year. That's in Lexington, Kentucky. That one's always a ball. Les was there was Les there last year? Am I telling stories? Jeff Carpenter was there last year.
Jeff Carpenter, yeah.
I tried to jump on his back. He always tries to fight me. Jeff's a good guy. But no, I think that's it. Thank you for having me and everything.
Hey, I appreciate you doing this. You're very interesting. I definitely got to have you back because you got a lot more to share.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's always fun, and it's good to meet people like yourself that have fun with it.
Yeah. Oh, you got to. This, if you're not having fun, get the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
I tell Jay that constantly. Whenever this isn't fun anymore, that's when it's done.
Yes. And I have fun with this. I always did. And I met a lot of great people out here in the cryptid and paranormal field. And no lie. Of course, you do get some of these, I'm going to be nice, call them asshats. But that's being nice because they got better terms for them.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I know.
But the majority are great people, caring people, and it means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed doing my podcast, and any of your listeners listening, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can always catch us on our Facebook. You always catch me doing lives because I hate typing. So I do a lot of lives on the agent's page. Yes, I'm lazy. I'm an old man. I got crippled up fingers.
I think it's funny. I watch them all the time because they'll pop up when I'm scrolling.
Yeah, it pops up all the time. Joe Kesky told me, he says, I had to shut the notification off on you because my phone was going ding, ding, ding. But, you know, Joe's a great guy. I love him and his wife and his boys. They're a great group. I met Joe shortly after I had my encounter, and he told me about his, and shortly after, and I put my head down and listened to that story, and I started to cry because his was aggressive. It did a serious love charge across the pond, coming through the pond at him.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And all I can think of is mine didn't get aggressive. What if it did? And I was crying, and I admit it. You know, I don't care. That brought tears in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how he felt. Now, and I got nothing but respect for this man. You know, just the way he had to deal with it. And, you know, hey, Doug Lace is out there. Yeah. He was just in a Small Town Monsters released Werewolves.
Awesome.
About his sighting. Yeah.
Awesome.
He's a good friend. I met him through work at the time. And then I found out that he was into the cryptid and paranormal stuff. And he ended up telling me his story. And it's like, then catching him on that thing from Small Town Monsters, it's like, yeah, I know this story. Yeah, the exactly same thing he said. Yeah, I know this story. But no, it was great seeing him sharing his story of what happened and how he saw it and that. Same with Albert Walker. He's been out hiking with us. He was on there. Jamie and Jenny King were there. Brian Seach spoke over the phone. there's this other couple on it. And finally, my wife watched one of those with me. And it was that one. She goes, that's damn scary. Yeah, that's why I like it. But as Cindy Mitch says, amazing information tonight. Thank you, Cindy. I try to get the good people on to share. But, you know, whoever hasn't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do.
Do it.
Definitely check out Justin and gang. They are great. The Tuesday morning with coffee, I try to pop in when I can. Actually, I popped in this past Tuesday while I was working. I said, hi, guys, I'm here, but I'm working. And I had to get back off because that damn machine was too loud. But you guys are full of information. You guys have a great time. And I really appreciate your show, too. I really do. You know, and that's what I tell people earlier. I says, check them out. If you like it, subscribe to them. Watch them. Check out other podcasts. You don't have to like them and keep on watching. Find ones you like. And definitely, you guys are one of the ones I definitely like.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you, Mike Hartman, for sharing that with me.
Mike.
You little shithead. But anyhow, folks, thank you for watching. It's been a great night. It's great having Justin on here tonight. And next week, I can't remember who I know who I have on. Oh, geez. I got a mystery guest.
Woo!
Yes. I ain't going to say who it is yet. But on the 25th, I got Michael W. Cook.
There you go.
Mr. Sasquatch himself. I'm hoping I can con a couple bottles of barbecue sauce out of them.
There you go.
But anyhow, thank you, people. You all have a great night. Stay safe, stay warm.
This has been an Agents of the Unexplained original podcast. Like us on Facebook, subscribe and view on YouTube, and please visit our store link in the bio. Thank you for listening, and remember that paranormal is the new normal.